latest S&M production of the Sunday Night Sports Nerd Show. It is the most absurd 90 minutes of anything goes, smack talk, and a whole lot more. Every Sunday night, the Sports Nerd joins forces with his maniac co-hosts, whom are a select group of sports nerds with attitude that are known in Nerd Nation as the Rat Pack. These are four of the most foul-mouthed, shit-talking nerds, spitting some sick rips and rants, just enough to make you piss your pants. So listen up, Nerds Nation. Rise and welcome the legend himself. He is the founder, he is the host, and he is the star of the Sports Nerd Show. Coming to you live, straight out of Lakeland, Florida, Scott, the Sports Nerd, right.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of the Sports Nerds for a December 27th post-Christmas show. Let me just say it has not been a good day for me. I'm going to get into that momentarily. I want to thank, and yes, I may be showing by myself, but we do have Ken, John, and Elliot. The gang is all back together after a couple of weeks, so we do have the full gang together. I'm going to open the show tonight with, as you may have expected, a nice little rant about what occurred today within the last 24 hours with the Cleveland Browns. And what a difference 24 hours makes. First, the Browns' entire wide receiver core gets told they have been disqualified for today's game against the Jets. And come to find out, it's due to contact tracing involving linebacker Jacob Phillips testing positive for COVID. So we lose Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins, Kadero Hodge, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, who all have been productive and have been primarily the reason for the success of the Cleveland Browns in 2020. Now, I don't know how Phillips got it, but in my opinion, he showed a lack of judgment and caused a serious blow to the Browns, especially after the way they played today. Baker threw for 280, 285, but did not have a TD, and thank God he didn't have an interception, but he put the ball on the ground 3 times, and he was sacked 4 times and ended the game with a 68.5 passer rating. They were also missing 2 offensive linemen, which was key because Baker was under pressure all day long. And that's how it was also critical to how the Jets defended the run today. The run game was critical because the Jets defense enforced Baker to try and get the ball out quickly. But because he had no reps with these receiving core, caused him to be out of sync. Head coach Stefanski had less than 18 hours to come up with a different game plan versus the Jets. But instead, with a depleted wide receiver core, he decided to let Baker air it out. And Baker actually threw the ball 53 times to a dismal 15 rushes from Chubb and Hunt. This team is fighting for its playoff lives. Now that the Steelers won the AFC North today when they beat the Colts. And what I saw today was a travesty. It was brutal. It was not the team that had won 5 of their 6 games and has been scoring at will for most of the season. This was the Jets, a team they should have pounded from the opening kickoff, despite what they did last week with the Rams. First 10-win team since 2007 are the Browns. The most excited I've been about a Browns team since 1989. You have 2 wide receivers that were just promoted from the practice squad, and your third has been on the team for just a few weeks, and neither of them have had any reps with Baker since joining the team, and yet you still decide that we're going to air it out. Now, I know we have a great tight end core in Hooper and Njoku, along with Hunt and out of the backfield, but the heart and soul of this team for the majority of the season has been their running game. You're probably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, yet you decided it was going to be through the air today with no experienced wide receivers to throw to. Hooper had a decent game, as well as LaMarcus Bradley, one of the kids that came off the practice squad. Actually, I think Bradley was on the practice squad. I'm not sure. Nick Chubb had 28 yards rushing, and Kareem Hunt had 11. That is the telltale stat on this game. And the head coach is to blame for the game plan. He said at his post-game interview that he didn't alter the game plan at all once the news broke about the receivers. He had to know that it would not work with the personnel in place. Despite being down the entire core, he should have at least tried to alter the game plan. Now, in order to make the playoffs, we have to beat Pittsburgh, or else we got to root for the Jags to beat Indy. Yeah, I don't think so. Baker did take responsibility for today. He had about a 5-minute rant that he talked about, and he spoke, and then abruptly walked out of the post-game interview, not taking any questions. I can't say that I blame him. Again, he put the ball on the ground 3 times, and he was just inefficient all game long. So that's my rant. And with that, I invite the guys back into the show. And John's laughing at me. I'm sure Ken is laughing at me on the inside. I know Elliot is damn sure laughing at me at this point.
Can I rebut a couple? You
can rebut all you want, Elliot. Go right ahead.
Okay, so to my understanding, you're saying that the coach was the problem. Baker Mayfield was the problem. I believe the coach was part of the problem, and the game plan was as well.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's what happened is they didn't expect to fall behind.
No.
They had no receivers, so now you know how the Denver Broncos felt when they didn't have a quarterback.
Right.
Okay. And bottom line is that once they fell behind, Baker was kind of forced to throw. And the thing is that even if they tried to run a game, the Jets have actually had a really decent run defense the last few weeks.
Yes, and they focused
on pass defense that doesn't stand the test of time.
Right, and I have to admit, the Jets, of course, we're going to focus and focus on the run.
And the Jets are on a 2-game winning streak. They no longer have the number 1 pick. That goes to Jacksonville.
Congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Just want to put it out there. And congratulations to our friend Stephen Whittle, who gets the benefit of this. And no, Stephen, he's not going back to college. I'm sorry, even though he's a junior.
I don't know. I kind of like that kid, Justin Fields, myself.
From Ohio State? Really? My God. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I see more promise in him than I do in Lawrence. That's just me.
Well, they're calling Lawrence a once in a generation talent. So we'll see.
Well, they said that about a lot of guys coming out of college.
Right.
They're all, filling grocery bags at grocery stores now and stuff. But anyway, and the Jets run D is, you just had to respect that. And I think that's what Kevin Stefanski knew. And again, the game plan, if they had a game plan to run, that changed as soon as they fell behind, 20-3.
Yeah, I agree with that, Elliot. I have no qualms with that. I mean, there was a lot of things that went wrong today. The Browns defense is abysmal, and I've been saying that in the entire season. We have no talent on defense. We've got guys that don't know what they're doing. The only great ones we have, of course, is the cornerback. God, why can't I think of his name? Oh, off the top of my head, I can't think of it off the top of my head. We do have one great quarterback. We've got a couple of great defensive linemen that can put pressure on the quarterback, but our linebacking core and the secondary is suspect. Even with Denzel Ward, excuse me, that's who I was going with. Even with Ward in the secondary, the balance of the defense, outside of maybe, of course, Myles Garrett, and there's one other one out there, Olivier is the other one guy.
Vernon?
Yeah.
And profiling.
Yeah. It's just abysmal. This defense is suspect. It has been all season long. The offense has been driving this team the entire year, and has been the reason why they are 10-5. So now we need 2 things to happen, or one thing to happen. Either the Browns have to beat Pittsburgh next week in Cleveland, or Jacksonville has to actually beat Indy, which I don't think will happen. So
okay, well, here's a bit of your saving grace, and just before, don't fall off your seat when I say this, Scott. But in defense of Kevin Stefanski, there's not really a whole lot of coaches out there that could lose their top 4 receivers and really put up any kind of a game plan to remedy that.
Especially in 18 hours, Elliot. I wholeheartily agree with that.
And as far as the Pittsburgh thing, Pittsburgh clinched the division, so they got nothing to play for next week. They'll probably bench Ben. They'll probably bench a few people.
Oh, great. Myles Garrett gets another shot at Mason Rudolph. Even better. How about that?
Had to do with the red nose.
Yes.
You know, Steelers have something to play for next week.
What they have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have to. They're playing for the second or third. Yeah, right.
Oh
If
yeah.
the Buffalo wins tomorrow night, they're pretty much deadlocked between the two of them as far as who's going to get the second.
We need to win next week, and then it comes down to the tiebreaker. So
Right.
next week.
So
May I say something about Myles Garrett?
yes,
Let me give you a little bit of history about Myles.
you grew up. You watched Myles Garrett since he was in high school.
And college. Myles generates so much respect for what he can do that teams tend to run to the opposite side of him,
Right.
in order to avoid him, which is just natural. So his numbers are not going to be significantly outstanding, but the fact of the matter is he still has the ability to disrupt an offense without even hardly lifting a
And
finger.
if you look at the tape, Ken, the man is getting held every other play,
Yes.
and it's not being
Yes.
called.
He is.
He's being
He
held
is.
every other play, and it's not being called.
Nothing new.
And I tacked that up because to the infamous incident that happened last year, I think the NFL and the referees have a little thing against Garrett because of what he did to Mason last year.
Quite
you know,
possible.
There's a reason why the Browns nominated Myles Garrett for Walter Payton Man of the Year, because he is extremely active in the Cleveland community and does so much great, so much good for kids and people in need, and he does a great job of that. That was a one-time off that is not typical of his character. And because you have watched him from high school to college and to pros, you know what his character is.
Yeah.
And that was not him. That is totally outside of what his normal character
Totally
is.
outside his character.
Totally.
Oh, and just one more
If
thing.
he did something like that, there was a reason for it. And you can bet it was something that Rudolph
Something
said,
set him off. Something evidently set him off.
Something set him off.
Yes.
One last thing to put a ribbon on the whole Cleveland running game today.
Yes.
Just ask the Rams what their running game was like when they played the Jets last week.
I don't think it was very good.
No, it wasn't at all. Just to make a point, the Jets' run defense is probably the strongest thing they have.
But and you know what? You got to admit, the current regime in New York, outside of ownership, they don't care about Trevor Lawrence. They want to win because they know they're not going to be here next year, so they can care less about Trevor Lawrence.
All right.
So
I think Trevor Lawrence's future is probably in Jacksonville.
And that's good for Trevor Lawrence because his fan base can follow him to Jacksonville. It's a lot easier for him to follow him to Jacksonville than it would be to follow him to New York. And he would not be so much in the limelight in Jacksonville as he would be in New York as well. So
you can fly under the radar.
Exactly.
So the Florida Times, whatever it's called, Florida Times Union in Jacksonville, and that's about it. So.
Yeah, the media in Jacksonville is nowhere near what it is in New York. So, before we get into the recap of today's games, John, did you have something to say about the Bills?
I'm trying to find what the Bills did to the Jets in week 1 on the ground. I can't really find it, but they did have 404 yards. So maybe it's just everybody else sucks except for the Bills. How about that?
Well,
How about that?
I'll tell you what. If you look at the Jets' defensive stats the first few weeks of the season, they sucked a lot.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said,
until they got rid of Greg Williams, they won 2 games in a row.
They shut the Raiders down too. Remember, everybody thought that what's his name, Devontae Booker was going to come in, even though Josh Jacobs was down, and they're going to run it down the Jets' throat.
Yep.
That didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? It's what have you done for me lately? Now the Bills go up against the Jets. Now, different story. Maybe not. Maybe 154 yards, but definitely not 400.
But the Bills aren't playing the Jets anymore, so it don't matter, right, John?
No, we swept them.
Yeah.
So
like you're supposed to.
Like you're supposed to, yes.
Right.
Yes. But we're basically one Hail Mary away from being
you can't give yourself a trophy for participation only.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're basically it's like one Kyler Mary away from being yes.
Yeah.
I'd be in the driver's seat right now if it wasn't for Hail Murray.
Hail Murray.
Yes.
One simple Hail Murray away from being 8-0 in the past 8 games. But beside the point, doesn't matter. Today was kind of a letdown for Bills Mafia. We could have we couldn't. We've done everything we can. It could have been helped by a certain team in Pittsburgh flopping.
Yes.
Or has anybody ever seen like how awkward Phillip Rivers is throwing a ball? Like,
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that for years.
Mhm.
The man
oh my
is just.
gosh.
I mean,
He doesn't throw a football. He shoots a discus out there.
yes.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
or like a shot put or something. Like it's so awkward. And every
But-
time he's throwing it, I'm like, oh,
Hey.
he's gonna get picked. He's
But
gonna
John,
get picked. There's a
but
pick.
John,
He's looked like that for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
he's created a Hall of Fame career out of that rag arm.
I know, right?
I'm blown away. Like they didn't do any favors for Buffalo. Like they were up. What were they up? Like 3 scores or something?
Yeah.
They're
And-
up 24-3.
4-7,
24-3, and allowed Pittsburgh, who's got like the most overrated team
Sorry,
in
24-7.
football.
Not only that, but Ben Roethlisberger's out there with a walker in his hand, trying to throw, trying to.
Dude, Ben
evade
Roethlisberger can't scramble no more. Remember, he used to move around and shake motherfuckers off like in the video games and
Yes.
shit. Now he can't even move three steps back without looking like he gonna pass out.
Yeah, it's painful. It is definitely painful.
There's no way they should have won that game today.
No. So Colts can, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for the Jets, though. Big shout out to the Jets.
Yes.
Big shout out to the Jets for securing that dub. So that means Trevor Lawrence is not going to be in the AFC East. So I don't care what he does with his career. Good on you, kid. Just as long as you're not going to play in the AFC East.
And I suppose that puts another notch in your I support Adam Gase.
I want to re-sign, extend Adam Gase. That's actually a Bills Mafia tweet, is extend Adam Gase.
I think there are terrorists in New York that might have a different opinion.
Bro, arguably the worst head coach in the history of the NFL. Like he's so bad. But
Yes.
And there've been some bad ones, dude.
there's been some bad ones. But Adam Gase is awful, and I hope that everybody that's in the higher ups in the Jets organization sticks with him. And just keep going.
Hey, can I get your
I
guys'
think, I think Lions fans would say that Matt Patricia's up there too. So.
Well, yeah, but he's been fired. So today was is Nosey still here? Is Nosey? We got to see how the Detroit fans are doing. How's the Detroit fans doing today? How are they doing? God, that was awful. A big shout out to Ken yesterday for that nice little Facebook message. He's like, as bad as your team is, you can always thank that you're not a Detroit Lions fan. Oh, man, there he is. There's Matt. How did that happen yesterday, man? Please explain us. We'd love to know. Inquiring minds would love to know how the
47 to what was it? 47?
It was like
47-7.
Yes.
47-7. You know what? That blowout is a small part of why I'm probably going to lose the fantasy championship game.
I mean, Alvin Kamara had a day yesterday too.
No, I'm just saying.
Yes, he did.
Leonard Fournette had 15 points in the first quarter.
The first
They
quarter.
took him out. They took him out and didn't play him the rest of the game. If I'd have known that, I would have played Jeff Wilson Jr., who scored 27 points,
There you go.
or Myles Gaskin, who scored 33.
Wait, are you going to let Brett beat you in the championship? Is that what you're saying,
You know
Elliot?
what? I don't let anybody do anything. Okay, you need to change your vernacular. Just like Brett texted me earlier or messaged me earlier. You worried yet? I go, no, I don't worry because this ain't about life or death. So move on, son.
There you go. There you go.
The bottom line is, I don't let nobody do nothing. I can't go out there and perform for these motherfuckers. I can only put them in the lineup
Exactly.
because they can't say they belong there.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm
Just
probably
out of curiosity, how many points did Alvin Kamara generate?
56 or something. Yeah. I mean, the man had 6 touchdowns.
NFL.com.
Could have actually had 8 touchdowns yesterday.
It was
I
insane.
mean, he was just, oh my gosh. The dude was just
He could have
Yeah,
had
he fell
7 if
short.
they
He
hadn't
fell
given the
short
ball
of
to what's his name?
Taysom Hill.
He fell
Taysom
short
Hill,
of
yeah.
the record, though.
He tied the record.
For
That,
rushing
From
touchdown.
like the 20s, wasn't it? Wasn't it
The
from like the
fourth
90s?
Well, yeah,
player
it was
in history
also-
to score 6 touchdowns.
Wasn't 1929 the year of the Depression?
well, yeah, but there was also the Bears. Why can't I remember his name? Can you help me out?
Ernie Nevers.
Huh?
Ernie Nevers.
No, the Bears.
Oh, the Bears. Oh, Jail Sayers.
Gale Sayers
Sayers
had
had
6
2.
touchdowns in like
Yeah.
69 or 65 or something like that.
And Dub Jones in 1951 had 6 touchdowns. I'd forgotten
But
about
not
that.
all rushing.
But not all rushing.
Not all
Yeah,
rushing.
no, Gale Sayers had actually 6 rushing touchdowns that day.
No,
No,
because
Gale had 4 rushing touchdowns, 1
Oh, okay.
receiving, and 1 punt
they
return.
said Kamara was the first and some guy in 1929.
Yeah, it was 28 or 29 or something.
Yeah,
It was mad.
so no, Gale Sayers couldn't have done it. God bless his soul.
Yeah.
But he had to have caught a pass in there somewhere.
But again, I mean, it's just he could have had 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the
7
thing.
for sure, because they pulled him out and gave the ball to Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill scored.
Let me ask you a question. Would you tell somebody that's running a fantasy team, hey, you're gonna let that guy beat you because Alvin Kamara scored 56 points?
Well,
You
lucky
can't
for
control
you.
that shit.
Well, lucky for you, Elliot. Neither you or Brett either have Alvin Kamara. So yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's one of those things where you don't control the situation one way or the other. You just put up a lineup.
Just set your lineup and cross your fingers and hope it's going to work out for you.
It's kind of like picking lottery and all that kind of shit. You know, it's all chance.
Lots.
Anybody that thinks that there's not more luck involved than anything else in fantasy is living in their own fantasy.
Yeah, Nosy doesn't want
Well,
to talk about it, John. He's not having a
Yeah,
good
I know.
day.
He's like, I feel for them. I always, again, the Rust Belt teams, I feel for.
Yes.
Them, you know? I feel for. Them. But I do have a little beef with one. I guess they're kind of semi Rust Belt, the Cincinnati Bengals. So we were talking fantasy here, and I got a little, who should you have not? So my entire fantasy season, I've been basically relying on the New Orleans Saints defense.
Okay.
They've been pretty decent.
Very good to rely on.
Yes.
Very good to rely on. This year, though, I did this last week of the season, like I was running for the 3rd place in our league. I said, you know what? They're on a tough matchup. That's a tough offense. So I'm gonna play go into the free agents and see and there's Houston playing the Bengals.
Oh no.
They were supposed to score it was 27 points.
Oh no.
It was supposed to be the Houston Texans.
You didn't.
Who picked up the Houston Texans on the free agent market?
That would be
On
you.
the waivers and put them in the lineup. Ask me how many points the Houston Texans got me.
How many points did the Houston Texans get for you today, John?
How many Super Bowls have the Buffalo Bills won?
0.
Wow.
Got a donut from them.
They put up a donut today. Holy
Big
cow.
fat donut.
Well, why wouldn't they? Houston defense sucks.
It was but I'm going on what you just said. It's luck. Because
Right.
if you went by the numbers, the numbers stated
they belong there.
Houston was supposed to put up it's Cincinnati. I mean, I forget what the guy's name is who beat Pittsburgh last week. What's his name again? The quarterback? Who is he?
It wasn't Brandon Allen.
Ryan Lindsay or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't even know this guy.
That doesn't say much about.
I've never heard of him either.
That doesn't say much about the Steelers when you got to remember the other team's quarterback's name.
None of
Well,
that, but-
again, thanks.
And today it was Brandon Allen that put up 371 yards and 2 touchdowns on that defense today. So,
So that was my mess up today.
and Samaje Perine was the running back that put up
P-Ryan.
95 yards on the ground and also scored 2 touchdowns. So yeah, it was a rough day for the
Houston
Texans
Yeah.
defense today.
It's like somebody told me, well, why didn't you play Jeff Wilson or Myles Gaskin? Well, it's easy for you to say that now when they combine for 60 points on the bench.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you look at it before the game, the numbers did not say, maybe Jeff Wilson. I could have probably made an argument there with Jeff Wilson and DeAndre Swift. But the numbers said otherwise when it came to playing Myles Gaskin, and he threw up 33 fucking points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Newsflash: the Cowboys are going to win another game, Kenny.
Well, basically, Brett
Looks like
basically Brett's team beat the
I'll have
odds,
more to say about that a little bit.
and my team didn't stand up.
So, are you losing today, Elliot? Are you going to lose the championship to Brett?
Oh yeah. I mean, even if I catch him and pass him, he has Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs tomorrow night.
Oh, jeez. Oh no!
Hey, how you doing?
The streak. Can I say it now that the streak is over?
Unless they get COVID, you know what I'm saying?
The streak is over, Elliot. Are you
No,
kidding?
I don't consider this.
Hey,
I don't consider.
If I had $1 for every time I've been leading by about 30 or 40 points and ended up losing on Monday Night Football,
Yeah.
Bro,
I'd be a lot of
Me
money.
too, Ken.
I said this before. I told my cousin Andrew this. I said, it's not my championship for you to take away because this is a different league.
Correct.
I set up
It's not the actual Sports Nerds League. You are correct. Yes.
Right.
So no, my streak is not on the line here. But at the same time, this is the first time since we started playing together that you guys are not going to see me walk away with the championship.
Right, and Brett gets to win free entry into the league next year because of his win. So
And just to put a topper on that, an exclamation point, a cherry, or whatever you want, this result is typical of 2020.
yes,
I don't win the championship, and Brett, who's never even been to the playoffs, does.
Is that
where
Brett
is
Murphy?
Brett, by the way?
That's a
I'm surprised he's
2020
not
move.
here.
Hey, that's a 2020 move if I had heard one.
I'm surprised Brett is not here tonight. He'd be bragging about you about the whole thing.
That's because
That's not a cherry on top. That's a cherry bomb on top.
he's restraining himself until either I do the non-Donald Trump thing and concede, and either that or officially it's over.
All right.
But you know what? I think he was
Don't
trying
like
to
your
humble me. He was trying to humble me when he asked me if I was worried. I go, no, man, I don't worry. This ain't life or death, so I'm good.
Right. Well, believe it or not, folks, there were other games, and we're going to go over. I'm not going to go over each and every single one of them because not a lot of them mattered as far as the big picture is concerned. So we'll just touch base on a few of these games today. Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, of course. Pittsburgh wins this game to win the AFC North.
Terrible.
And of course, Indy had a 24-3 lead at one point in time.
24-7, and their defense, their offense just fell apart in the second half.
Well, and Phillip Rivers fell apart. Why don't we just paint it as it is? It's Phillip Rivers that fell apart. John hates Phillip Rivers, and I've been critical of his.
Oh my gosh! Well, this guy just retired.
But you know what? He's won. You know what?
Already.
He's won games this year. He's thrown for 300 plus, almost 400 yards with that same damn arm.
Yeah, I know.
I can't believe it.
They just couldn't stop anybody in the second half either.
Right.
They were
When the Steelers
and Indy has a great defense. I can't understand why they couldn't put up a fight because Indy's
got gassed. That's why they got gassed at the end.
When Roethlisberger hit that 39-yard touchdown pass early in the third quarter to make it 24-14, I knew the game had turned right there, and I said, "We're going to take it away."
Well, it was actually in the fourth quarter, Kenny, because it was
the fourth quarter. Okay,
yeah, it was in the fourth quarter that he hit that.
You guys seeing the weather in Green Bay?
Yeah, so he's going to have a snow game tonight in Green Bay.
A blizzard.
It's a blizzard with the Packers and the Titans. This is going to be a great game, guys, if you like pounding the football, because there are going to be a lot of running plays tonight.
Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry, front and center.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Ben he was 34 of 49 for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. James Conner only had 20 yards rushing. So, the Pittsburgh running game, as has been the history this year, has been non-existent.
Right.
And without a running game, they're not going to go far.
Right. Juju, Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron all had touchdown catches for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Johnson's one who made that incredible catch, isn't it?
Yes. And much to my dismay, with this win, the Steelers do win the North. So next week's game doesn't mean squat except for the Browns because they have to win to get into the playoffs. And depending on what Buffalo does tomorrow night, Pittsburgh, it might mean something to them if they may not care, but it could mean, Buffalo or Pittsburgh are fighting for that second spot in the playoffs. And that will determine as far as where the Browns will play, if they're going to play either Pittsburgh or Buffalo, if they get into the playoffs. So, we play Pittsburgh week 17 and then have to turn around and go back to Pittsburgh and play them again, or we go to Buffalo. Orchard Park, if you'll excuse me,
It's okay, man. We'll let it slide. This is like North Tonawanda.
Yeah, right.
It's synonymous.
But for the Browns to go from where they were last year to be able to get into the playoffs is an extreme turnaround, a great turnaround.
Here comes the participation trophy.
And
yeah, exactly.
You know what? But you know what, John?
And you know what? If they lose next week, what?
They're out.
They're out.
Yeah.
So don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Oh, I'm
We
not.
have to win.
In the end, this is still the Cleveland Browns, and they have ghosts.
Yeah, we have to win, or Jacksonville has to pull off a miracle and beat the Colts next weekend, which
So
probably.
who are
not
you
gonna
playing
happen.
Pittsburgh next week?
We are playing Pittsburgh in Cleveland
In
next
Cleveland.
Sunday. Yes, it's a 1
Yeah,
o'clock
like
start.
they're not going to sit too many people because Pittsburgh. Well, that depends because if we
It's a
lose,
division game too. It's a division game too. They want to be able to say that they beat the Cleveland Browns.
If
They
we
wanna
lose,
say
They've
they
already
can
beat us
eliminate the
once already this year.
Cleveland
They pounded us. They killed us once already this year. So
And all this about it's in Cleveland don't matter, yo. You saw what Baltimore did in Cleveland.
right, yeah. I mean, but again, well, no, because
Home
in
field doesn't
Cleveland,
matter in football this year.
it was 47-42 was the final. It was a shootout.
Mhm.
The pounding they got from Baltimore was in week 1 in Baltimore.
Right,
It's a totally different team than what it was in week 1.
right.
We went toe to toe with Baltimore and only lost.
Pounded by Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So,
And now Pittsburgh's going to try to put a death nail in them.
right, we'll see if Pittsburgh's up to the task because this is a totally different Browns team they met when they played before.
And it was totally different with Baltimore too. Baltimore still won.
hey, listen to this. Listen to this guy talking smack in chat here. Okay, listen, nosy. Okay, we won the AFC East. Okay, we have a home playoff game. I don't give a rat's ass if we lose in the first round. I don't give a crap. You want to know why? Because next season, and then the season after next, Josh is 24 years old, sir.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
care.
the way I look at it, and that's the way I look at it as well with Baker. He's young too, so I mean, it's going
Baker's shit compared to Josh Allen. Thank you very much. Okay.
John, you swore. My God.
Look, I'll give
It's
Baker
actually the Oxford Dictionary. I can
Okay.
say.
I'll give Baker props for fessing up to being a shithole today as far as
Yeah, he did make his speech was pretty intense.
But here's the thing, Scott, I hate to burst your bubble.
It's been
but-
burst already, Joe, but go ahead, Elliot.
Baker Mayfield is a fringe good quarterback in the NFL.
A fringe good quarterback.
Mhm.
I need
I
to
agree.
I need to write that down somewhere so I can
He's
come back
not-
next year.
He doesn't rise to level 1 elite level.
He did against the Ravens despite the loss.
You want to count it one game at a time. I'm talking about the full
Big picture.
the full Monty, dude. The entire.
I'll tell you what you do, Elliot. You go back and you go from the game in Cincinnati where we lost Odell and go from that game forward and look at Baker's stats.
Oh,
Again,
He's amongst the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL since that game in Cincinnati. Just saying.
okay. He has to sustain that though, and he didn't do that today.
No, today he did not. I will admit that. And he
When it
admitted
comes, that's just it. When
Yes,
it counts, if you fucking stink up the place,
yes,
you have no destiny for destiny.
correct.
Eliteness.
Yeah,
this-
one. You're gonna go.
Okay.
You're gonna take one bad game out
You
of
know
line.
what? Exactly. One smelly game.
Coming into this game, they'd won 5 of 6. Come on, give me a break.
Dude,
Okay,
this is what have you done for me lately, league? Okay.
oh, I love it. I love this. I love
He's
this.
won 5 of 6 going in today's game,
I love this.
and the one game they lost was a 47-42 shootout.
Okay.
Do you know the difference between Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen? Yes, I'm doing the comparison. Josh Allen played like crap and lost the playoff game last year against Houston.
Uh-huh.
All offseason, that ate at him. He got better. He did things that no scout in the NFL, all the pundits said he couldn't do. That changed his dynamic. The entire team changed. And yeah, Stephon Diggs coming over obviously helps. The difference between someone like Baker and then someone like Josh is Josh actually got better after he was shit.
Okay, let me ask you.
Baker does this. I'm good. I'm shit. I'm good. I'm shit.
Let me ask you this:
They're kind of like his progressive commercials.
How many?
Just dogging on you, Scott.
I know
love
how many
it.
years has Josh been under the same system? 3 years now.
It don't matter. How many
dude.
years did Baker have in a college program? He had more reps in college playing. Who did he play for? The Sooners?
Yes.
Like, isn't that
I've
kind of like
seen-
a big deal in college ball?
Well, he
I've
played
seen
and he
guys-
beat
Who
the
did Josh
Buckeyes
play for?
Hey,
and he
there
beat the
been guys-
Buckeyes in Columbus.
Look, there have been guys that come into this league with shittier teams that have done better than Baker Mayfield.
How tall
Okay.
is Josh?
Remember that night, Scott?
What's
That has
that?
nothing to do with
Not
it.
he planted the OU
The
flag
night
in
he
the
planted
middle
the
of
OU flag on
field.
the logo of the Buckeyes. Yes, he beat the Buckeyes in Columbus. Yes, I remember that.
Dude, I totally agree with Elliot. He's
Oh,
a
of course.
borderline fringe good quarterback.
Okay.
And
We're gonna
eventually he shall be replaced because in the big situations, like I said, he had a big situation today. And I understand that he was undermanned. But the great
And a depleted
quarterback,
receiver
the
core and
truly
a
great, the
depleted offensive line.
truly
Yes.
fucking great quarterbacks, the ones that go to
Hey,
win
Army.
Super Bowls,
What's up, Army?
Army, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
they overcome that kind of shit.
Yes. And that's what Baker needs to do. Tonight, this week was when he needed to do that. The fact that he lost all of his receiving core, it should have been
Not to mention he lost 2 starting offensive linemen as well.
Take the team on my back and make it happen.
We lost Wills and Teller, and that's huge.
This was not the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was not the Buffalo Bills. This was the New York Jets, man.
Right, and there's no excuse for losing to a 1-13 team.
Adam Gase, man.
If you did not recall, it's only been about a half an hour. I did blast the entire team in my opening monologue.
I know, but I'm just trying to pour gas on the fire here. That's all I'm trying to do.
They're throwing fuel on the fire, John, just to troll me and.
Oh, dude, of course,
Yeah.
and I'll have to give you a whole bunch of crap.
Bottom line, Scott.
Buffalo in the playoffs.
Bottom line, Scott, if you're explaining, you're losing.
Yes, and by the way, Seattle just won the NFC West by beating the Rams. But just to let you know.
Lamb just made it game, set, and match against the Eagles too.
And the Cowboys are still alive, Ken.
They are.
They can
Cowboys
still,
gonna win.
That Colts are getting stronger.
Because not only did Philly lose, but Washington lost as well.
Washington
well,
lost.
here's the
And the
scenario.
Giants lost.
If Washington loses next week and Dallas wins the division.
Go figure. And Dallas will
Well,
host a freaking
let me
playoff game.
explain that. This is crazy. This eliminates the Eagles.
This is 2020.
Okay.
Let's preface that.
For any reason, the Eagles beat the Redskins next week, and the Giants end up beating the Cowboys, the Giants win the division.
That too.
The
Now,
Giants
is that game in New Jersey or in Dallas?
Bottom line is,
it's in New Jersey, it's in the Meadowlands.
look, bottom line is Washington wins, they're in.
Washington wins their.
Washington loses, the winner of the Giants and Dallas goes in.
If for any reason that if the Cowboys and Giants play at 3 or late game,
John,
and Eagles and Redskins play early, and the Eagles end up winning that game, then the Cowboys Giants game is for the division title.
hey, John,
It will be for the division title.
I love the debate over 4 teams that are playing to be sacrificial lambs in the first round.
Oh, it's the best, man.
Isn't that?
Who they play? They'll play Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
No, Green Bay gets the bye.
Oh,
No, they'll play
play
New
either
Orleans.
Seattle or New
They'll play
Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll play New Orleans.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
if.
Well,
Green
no,
Bay
they're
wins
going to
tonight.
host it. No,
Wins
no,
out.
they will host a playoff game. So they play one of the wild
that's
card
right.
teams.
That's
Yeah.
okay. They're still.
Of which the wild card teams will have a better record coming into that game than the Dallas Cowboys or Giants.
You know, the NBA got rid of that rule.
Hey, any other team that's in the playoffs would have won the division.
In the NFC East, yes.
Came to the playoffs.
Can I have the Browns move to the NFC East, please? Just saying.
I think half the league could have won that division.
Right. Another game that was really interesting to the end of the was KC Atlanta. Atlanta almost upset the Chiefs today. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Atlanta, man. Yeah, because it's Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's the almost.
Three Army.
Look, Kansas City,
3 Army, yes, 3.
you know what? It's hard to play your tip top when you got nothing left to play for. Kansas City has nothing left to play for. They got the number 1 seed. They got home field advantage.
Well, they wouldn't have gotten it if they had lost today. They had to play next week to get it. So that they won
So
today,
they
so that they get the
Okay,
they get the
so
home
they
field
put off
advantage.
the inevitable. They put off the inevitable and scored at the end of the game.
Right.
They gave everybody a little drama to go home with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you don't think that if Kansas City was taking that game seriously, they wouldn't have whooped the shit out of it.
Yeah, Army, just to get a side note, Army's asking questions about how many wild card teams. The NFL put in place that there's going to be a total of 7 teams from each conference in the playoffs to include three wild card teams. And that was because of 2020 and the way that it was set up because it was COVID and whatever. So they made the exception, added another wild card team to the playoffs this year just for 2020. Now, this is on the rundown.
Got picked. Oh.
Next year, NFL is pushing for a 17-game season as opposed to a 16-game season. So that's going to be interesting as well too. So
that's one extra season of fantasy. I mean, one extra week of fantasy football.
I was going to say, how is fantasy going to work this way? They're going to have an extra week of regular season, or
absolutely. The season will be 14 weeks instead of 13,
right?
And then the playoffs will be weeks 15.
Yeah, a normal season, Army, is 2, yes, but this year it was specifically 3. I don't know if they're going to do that moving forward.
It'll be 17 games, but 18 weeks is what it is, right?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be 17. It'll be 17 games, 19 weeks, I guess, or 18 weeks with a bye. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 18. You had one extra week because of the bye, so they're going to go from 8 to week 18 instead of week 17.
Right.
We don't know.
So fantasy will play till week 17 instead of week 18. That's all it comes down to.
No, Army, it's not permanent as far as I know. No. You're welcome. So
I do, Army. I have Bill's everything. I've built jock straps.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
I'm gonna get a tattoo.
That was a little too much.
Biggs on one ass cheek, and I'm gonna get Josh Allen on the other.
That was a little more than we wanted to know, John. But that's okay.
And they're gonna clap like this every Sunday. How's that for a visual, Scott?
Well, you've got a huge ass, John, so it's all gonna work out.
Boy, there you go. How's that for a visual, buddy? Huh? Yeah.
I can't get that out of my eyes.
So now it's official that the winner of the NFC East will be a 7-game winner.
Yes.
Yes.
Looks that way, yes.
7 and 9.
The winner of the NFC East will be 7 and 9, and Dallas just picked off them again.
That was Young Diggs.
Ah,
Shout out to Young Diggs.
right. So Matt Ryan had a great game. He passed for 300 yards, had 2 touchdowns. But
I will never draft Julio Jones again in fantasy. I'm done.
Hey, you know what? I think Matt Ryan and Julio Jones only have 1 game left in Atlanta.
I don't even think Julio played today. He
didn't. He didn't. That's my point.
He's not even in the stats.
Julio is a fantasy flop. Okay.
Well, he used to be a fantasy stud, but not anymore.
One of the reasons I never drafted him is because he never got any opportunities in the end zone.
Right.
No, and Ridley always took his touches too in the end zone. So it's like
even in the zone.
If you healthy scratch today or IR.
He didn't get a lot of touchdowns. His was volume, catches and yards.
Well, Calvin really caught 5 balls for 130 yards today. He really played
exactly.
well.
And then I got that Gage kid too on my team.
And that's why Calvin really is the reason Julio Jones won't be returning next year.
No.
Just like Matt Ryan's not going to be returning either. The ownership already said they're ready to move on from both of them if they can figure out a way to negotiate a move. You know what I'm saying? But I think you've seen the last of Ryan and Julio.
I think Atlanta's gonna blow it up and try to rebuild. I think it's what they're gonna do.
Gurley's gonna be gone too. He's a free agent.
Yeah. The next game is, let me see here. We've already gone over the Jets and the Browns. No need to go back to that. So again, we just mentioned that Dallas won. They're still alive for the NFC East. I'm sure Ken has a lot to say about that game because I'm sure you watched it, Kenny. You got your hat on. I would think you'd have a lot to say.
Trying to watch it here back and forth. But,
right.
Hey, how about the Bears?
Great game from Andy Dalton today.
Well, the Bears beat Jacksonville. That was no surprise, Elliot.
But I understand, but they're still in the playoff hunt.
Correct. That the Bears control their own destiny. They got to win next week.
And for some reason, Trubisky has shown a revival of himself.
He's been playing very well, and because of the fact that who lost yesterday, it was because Arizona lost to San Francisco yesterday. That's why the Bears are still in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Bears win eliminated Arizona, right?
yes,
And props ups to my boy George Kittle for returning.
George Kittle has made a return. There has been a George Kittle sighting, and he has returned.
Mhm.
Damn right. And he was part. You know what he said? He said, I wanted to come back from the last 2 games to play spoiler. He did that with Arizona. Who's next?
Kittle had 4 receptions for 92 yards, so he was the leading receiver for the Niners yesterday.
San Francisco has Seattle next week, right?
Yes.
Can we? You have it written down here. Can we touch on
It don't matter. Seattle will be one of the
Mr. Kelsey setting the tight end yardage record?
Yes,
14
Travis
yards
Kelsey.
plus?
Yes.
You know, Kittle.
Cool. You just started with the Kittle, so I thought I'd throw some Kelsey in there, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Travis
Kittle and
Kelsey.
Look, Kittle and Kelsey are 1A and 1B, no matter how you look at it when it comes to tight end.
I think
Everything else, Waller and Andrews.
Waller's up there, man. I
Waller
mean,
and Andrews, I think, are 2A and 2B, and then the rest is like D's and F's.
in the Bills' case, it's a Z, but close.
Because the tight end pool is a cesspool, except for those 4 guys.
there's so much talent in the tight end in tight ends in the NFL now. There's more talent now in the tight end
translate
position than there has been in years.
It doesn't translate into fantasy points, Scott.
No, it doesn't. But Kelsey,
It's Travis Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey, it does.
And Kittle.
No, man.
was
Travis
hey.
Kelsey was like my stud all year, man.
Kittle was on a snap count and still scored over 13 fantasy points.
Yeah.
A snap count.
Mm.
People were asking me, should you play George Kittle? Yeah, you should play George Kittle. Let me ask you this. If Travis Kelsey was on a snap count, would you sit him?
No,
Hell no. So why would you sit George Kittle on a snap count?
because he's coming off a broken ankle or a fractured knee or
No,
whatever
it
it was.
doesn't matter. Let's just say Kelsey was coming off an injury and he was on a snap count. Would you sit him?
No.
Exactly.
Travis Kelsey is the best tight end in football, and quite frankly, one of the best receivers in football overall, not just in the tight end position.
I understand. And Kittle's the same. You know what? They cut from the same cloth, basically.
I mean, I recall another tight end that played for Kansas City and Atlanta, who Kelsey has the potential to break all of his records. Tony Gonzalez, yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Gonzo.
I think Kelsey's better than Tony Gonzalez ever was.
Dude, I'm just playing the homer thing because, like, I picked him in
Kelsey.
fantasy,
Right.
but everybody didn't take him on that second round. The second round snake draft, everybody was picking these no-name wide receivers.
If Travis Kelsey's available in the second round, you're going to freaking take him. I don't care what.
I'm like, dude, this guy's like the best tight end
And
in
I'm
the game,
taking
and
Kittle,
he's gonna like crush
and I'm
it for
taking
yards.
Kittle right after that.
Especially since Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback, you're going to take Kelsey. That's the reason why you take Kelsey. Because
Okay,
Mahomes and Kelsey.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Then doesn't that make a case that Kittle might be just as good, if not better than Kelsey? Because
If he gets a decent quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, if he gets a good quarterback, but
he's had shit quarterbacks, and he was the one who just lost the record for most yardage by a tight end. Okay, playing with shitty quarterbacks. Kelsey been playing with probably one of the best quarterbacks ever to step on the field, and he's doing what he's doing. You give Kittle Mahomes and watch Kittle score 40 fucking fantasy points a week, because that's just the talent difference.
you just love him because he's a Niner.
Yeah, that's true too.
No.
I
I
think
love him
Kittle's
because
better.
I love him because of his attitude and because he's a huge WWE.
I think Kittle's a better tight end because he's a better blocker than Kelsey.
He's a better blocker. Yes,
Yeah.
he is a better blocker.
Kelsey's a better receiver, although
And
it's
that's what a true
marginal.
tight end is. Somebody-
Kittle's a better true
And
tight
Kelsey
end.
had 7 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown, but it's when Kelsey makes those catches that
Block
counts
back.
the most.
It's the third
Yeah.
downs, man.
Yes,
It's that check down, third down
Right.
slot.
correct.
You know,
I'll bring it all back to Patrick Mahomes on this side, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins.
Yes.
Jet.
Good. Listen,
Jimmy
this is not
Garoppolo.
the anti-George Kittle show, okay?
Right.
I'm
No,
a
not at
fan.
all. I love. You know what?
I'm
I
a
love
fan.
George Kittle because
I'm
George
just
Kittle,
saying Travis Kelsey is another level of.
And I'm not anti-Travis Kelsey either.
There you go.
I'm
So
just
we're all
saying
love.
that those two are the cream of the crop.
Dude, can we just maybe
They-
San Francisco and Buffalo could do a trade in the offseason? Like Matt Barkley for George Kittle. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Damn.
We'll put Josh Rosen in before we pick up Matt Barkley.
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. Speaking of the devil,
Hearing
he's
it.
actually on the
Wait a
Niners
minute,
roster.
maybe we'll go.
Or
After
Rosen's on the Niners now, yeah.
I think we might trade up to get Justin Fields, man.
Offseason's going to be crazy, man.
Yeah, it is going to be crazy because the Niners need to find a solid quarterback for their roster because they've
You
got
heard it
so
here
much
first.
talent.
You heard it here first. Jimmy G goes back to New England next season. Jimmy G back with the Patriots. Cam is going back to playing Medea.
Stranger things have happened.
Right.
I don't
True.
see why that's not a bad idea. But
Jimmy
Yeah,
G
that-
knows the
Belichick
system.
would have
Jimmy G knows the
Mhm.
system in New England. It would only make sense if he went back there.
And the only reason that the Patriots got rid of him is because Tom Brady told Bill Belichick to do so. That's the only reason
Because
why he's no longer with the
He was
Patriots.
afraid
Yes.
Jimmy G was going to take his fucking job.
No, Brady's no longer with the Patriots.
it's crazy. Crazy.
So Miami and Las Vegas last night
Shit.
pissed me the fuck off.
Oh my God! Some of the memes some of the memes against the Raiders.
And again, John Gruden is once again the most overrated head coach in the NFL. I proved that this is proven.
Correct.
It's proven my point time and time again. And Fitzmagic is alive and well. That's on the road down.
Yes.
Fitzmagic
yes.
is alive and well.
Fitzy.
The dude threw that bomb with a guy holding on to his freaking
Mhm.
face mask.
His
It was
neck
a
was
blind
like
throw.
this.
His
Yeah.
neck was bent over backwards, dude.
Yes.
I know. It was like
His
an
Adam's-
exorcist,
His
man.
Adam's
His head
apple was way the fuck out here.
Yes.
We got 30 yards in the pass and 15 more on the penalty.
Exactly.
Oh,
Okay.
Correct.
All right, let me ask you this. And I'm sick and tired of hearing Gruden defending himself, saying, "Oh, I'll kick the field goal anyway." You've got the ball on the 1 yard line, and you've got a chance to put the game away with
Right.
a touchdown. And I don't understand why they didn't go for the touchdown. Nobody can explain that.
Because Gruden is an idiot. The
He
man's
is an
been
idiot.
the head coach of the Raiders for 3 years. They paid him $100 million to not make the playoffs the last 3 years. Okay. But yet he's got job security from Mike Davis because he paid him $100 million.
Let me
okay?
clarify something. He didn't get $100 million in 10 years because of anything impressive that he's done other than win a Super Bowl. That was actually a team he inherited from Tony Dungy.
Yes.
Okay.
Dungy.
Tony Dungy's
One that
team.
It was
Dungy.
Tony
It was-
Dungy's team. He came in and won the Super Bowl. Tony Dungy should have won.
Well, not
Okay.
only that, but it was Monty Kiffin's defense.
But
that did it.
here's the thing.
Mhm.
He got 10 years, $100 million from the Raiders. Why? Because they needed some kind of a headliner since they were
Going to
moving
Vegas.
In Vegas.
Going to Vegas, yes.
And the biggest, one of the bigger celebrity coaches in the NFL is John Gruden. But he makes a better
Announcer.
commentator
Yes.
and whatever.
Makes a
what he
better
was
And
Who
his
doing
does-
quarterback clinic, whatever he does every year with the potential draft picks and all that
He's
stuff.
much better at that than he is at coaching. It's like, hey, here's another one. I heard somebody, this had to be a Texans fan, okay? They were rejoicing at the fact that the Texans are looking into Marvin Lewis as their next head coach.
Oh, talk about mediocrity. Oh my God.
And I'm like, can
I
you
don't
tell
see
me
that.
what Marvin Lewis's credentials were for 15 years?
12 years as head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals and not one playoff win. That's his credentials.
But he got
Oh.
to the playoffs a bunch of times.
Well, yeah, they got to the playoffs. They won some division titles too. But when it mattered, Lewis couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag.
Correct.
Gruden coached that fourth quarter last night like the fry cook at Hooters he used to be.
You know,
And
Army makes a good point there. He said he disagrees because coaches don't bring in fans. I agree to that to an extent. And this is why, because we're about to go into Buffalo Bills land. Dude, when the Bills hired Rex Ryan,
oh my God.
people in Buffalo were half of them couldn't stand it. The other half was just in love with it because he's a sideshow.
He's a
He's
celebrity. It's the celebrity. Come on, man. Everybody knows John Gruden as what? Chucky. The problem, Chucky, the fucking crazy ass doll.
Puppet doll, yeah.
Oh, Chucky,
the faces he makes look exactly like that damn doll. That's what springboarded him into any kind of status. The fact that he won a Super Bowl.
It's his facial expressions. It's his mannerisms. It's
the fact that they call him Chucky.
Yes.
And when the Raiders had an opening and they saw an opportunity, I'm not saying that fans draw or coaches draw fans, but it sure helps if you got a headliner coach that comes in when you're moving to a city that's all about headliners.
But the Raiders don't understand that Gruden is so overrated that he has no freaking clue how to win a championship with his own players. He has to win. He won the one with Tampa with Tony Dungy's players, Monty Kiffin's defense. The defense was the reason why the Bucs were so good. You're going to tell me Brad Johnson and the offense that he brought in for Brad Johnson was the reason the Bucs won the Super Bowl that year? No. Brad Johnson's a mediocre quarterback who's never going to.
That's like saying you're rich, but every dime you got is inherited.
Correct. Basically,
you ain't rich. You fucking lucky, motherfucker.
Keyshawn Johnson didn't win you a Super Bowl. Okay. Mike Allstott pounding the rock actually was a better representation of how the Bucs played offense that year. But he'd been doing that for years.
Defense was their thing, dude. Defense was their thing.
Defense was the key. Warren Sapp, as much as I hate that son of a bitch, Warren Sapp.
Ouch. Language.
I hate Warren Sapp.
Derek
Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, John Lynch. That was the core of that defense. Okay. Simeon Rice off the edge was the core of that. It was part of the core of that defense as well.
Leroy Selman. Wasn't he part of that team?
No, Leroy Selman was
earlier.
Was when the Bucs were actually when they were good in 79 was the year they went to the NFC Championship against the Rams, and Leroy Selman was on part of that team. So you're going back 40 years.
Scott, can we segue something in from this coaching talk right quick?
Yeah.
There has been talks today. I think Adam Schefter was one who broke it this morning. At least 2 or 3 teams are interested in Urban Meyer.
Yes, I was on the rundown as well. Urban Meyer is rumored to be a head coach. Head coach possibility in the NFL. Urban Meyer needs to stay home and keep doing his broadcasting because
that's what I'm about to say.
He's not going to be. He won't be any good in the NFL. I'm sorry.
Urban Meyer is having too much fun doing what he's doing right now.
Well, not only that, but if he had health issues in college, what kind of health issues are you going to have in the NFL?
He's not.
Stress level is 10 times in the NFL what it is in college.
He has absolutely no stress doing right now what he's doing.
Yes.
College kids.
He is not going to the University of Texas. He's not going to the NFL. He's enjoying what he's doing right now, and he's not leaving.
College kids will follow your lead. Professional athletes will not.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a whole nother level of coaching in the NFL than it is in college because the NFL are men. They're adults.
The personalities of the players.
Well, and the money too, Elliot. Think about the money that these guys are making.
They're getting paid. They don't need you to be telling them this, that, or the other.
Right.
Whereas in college, you're nobody unless you listen to your coach.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? People lose that aspect of the game once they get paid to go to the NFL because they stop listening to their coach so much. And in some cases, they wind up in the tabloids with the coach. You know what I'm saying?
Army's got it right. Money talks, and that's all it is. It's all about money in the NFL. It's business.
And you know what? If the NFL was all this cracked up to be for college coaches, great college coaches, then why is Nick Saban back in college?
Why did he bail the NFL to go back to college? Because college is better for him, and he hated the NFL. He hated the NFL.
There's more.
Saban's making more money at Alabama than he did for the Dolphins.
There's more high-profile college coaches that went back to the NFL than there are that went to the NFL.
Correct, and there's less politics in college than there is in the NFL as well.
Exactly. Well, because there's money, there's politics, and vice versa.
getting
Money
pretty
in
even here
politics,
lately.
hand in glove, hand in glove, money in politics. That's how that works.
Yeah.
So we talked about Fitzmagic. We talked about Alvin Kamara. We talked about the Jags. Talked about the Chiefs. Talked about the Steelers. The Ravens were fined $250,000 for their COVID outbreak.
Who cares?
Exactly. And my beef with that is the Ravens and Steelers were given preferential treatment and postponed. And yet the Browns lose all 4 of their receivers plus 2 offensive linemen. And yet the NFL says, play your game and don't worry about it. And you got to deal with it.
No, they said the same thing to Denver without quarterbacks.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
You
think the Browns are going to be fined?
they don't care about you as much as they care about their
No,
money.
I don't think so, Ken. I don't think they get fined. I mean, again, it was one player that got exposed. Was
But here's the
tested
here's
positive.
here's the one price they didn't pay. They didn't lose a draft pick.
Right. Correct. So now the playoff picture with 1 week to go in the regular season.
Let's keep going. Keep going, Scott.
Right now, as of right now, the Chiefs have the number 1 slot. They've clinched that number 1 spot.
So they get the bye.
Steelers have clinched their division. They are currently the number 2 seed. The Bills are currently number 3, pending the game tomorrow night. In the hunt, we have the Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, and Browns all in the hunt. Right now, the Browns are the 7th seed on the outside looking. Well, actually, no, the 7th seed will be, on the outside looking in.
You're the 7 out of the 6 wild cards.
Actually, there's 7 out of the. Yeah, there's 7 out of the. Yeah, there's 7. They're last place as far as a wild card spot, but on the bubble are the Colts. Okay.
And they're only there because they fucked up today against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
correct. But not only that, but the Browns have a win against the Colts. They hold that tiebreaker. If the Browns beat the Steelers, and the Browns are in, and the Colts are out because of that tiebreaker. Even if the Colts beat the Jags next week, which is probably going to happen anyway. So that's what it looks like. Which mean that currently, as the standing set, the Browns would play the Steelers in week 1 of the playoffs. In the NFC, we've got the Packers as the number 1 seed. They can, I don't know if they clinch tonight, if they win or not. I don't know.
Pretty close.
Yes,
I think
they
so.
do.
If they win tonight, they clinch the number 1 overall seed.
Yes.
Yeah, they beat
Saints are number 2.
Packers.
They've clinched the NFC South because they're the number 2. Seahawks clinched the division tonight with a win over the Rams, so they're number 3. And the Buccaneers clinched their playoff berth yesterday with their shellacking of the Lions, Matt, yesterday as well. In the hunt, we have the Washington football team at 6-9.
Yeah.
Who is currently leading the division, apparently.
Remember, the NFC East winner will be the number 4 seed.
Correct. Right now, it's the Washington football team. Okay. The Rams are the 6th seed, despite losing to the Seahawks today. And right now, the Chicago Bears, the number 7 seed in the NFC. On the bubble, we have the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Giants. The Cowboys and the Giants, the only reason why they're on the bubble is basically because of the division.
Because they live inside a bubble.
Correct. So I'm assuming that if the Bears lose and the Cardinals win next week, the Cardinals will get in and the Bears will be out. So that means I'm figuring that's how it's going to win.
Derek corrected us.
What's that?
They don't. The Seahawks won, so they can't clinch.
Oh, they can't clinch because the Seahawks.
But I'd really like them to beat.
Thank you, Derek Laughlin. Good to see you after trolling me all freaking day. Thank you very much.
Have the Packers and Seahawks played this year?
No.
No, but the Packers usually own the Seahawks. Usually.
So the Packers play the Titans tonight. Saints play the Vikings next week. No, they played them yesterday. I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Yeah. So that's what we're looking at as far as the playoff picture.
Well, if Green Bay wins this week, week 17 means nothing in New Orleans.
Go Jets.
Go fuck yourself, Derek. I'm just going to say that. I'm just saying.
Hey, the Jets could finish the season on a 3-game winning streak.
Bro, extend Adam Gase. Let's do it. Let's go, G.
No, you see,
Yes,
I think they got half the formula right. They got rid of Greg Williams. AG is next.
Nah, man. Let's keep him. Extend him. Extend him. 5-year extension. He's awesome.
Would that not be just a total Jets thing to do with the ownership to actually extend that son of a bitch? I mean, come on, really?
Dude, there'd be a mutiny. There'd be a mutiny in New Jersey. You know?
Do it.
Woody Johnson will have to move out of the country. You know?
Do it.
Whoever the management is.
You can do it.
Oh God.
Do it.
Anyway, so that's the playoff picture there. NFL's. I think we mentioned that about Herbert broke the Baker's rookie record today as well. Justin Herbert for the Chargers. He broke Baker's 2018 record. As far as where is it? I think it's. I want to say it's touchdown record, or I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
So
something like that.
That's a really good quarterback. Like
Herbert
is going to be
for the Chargers. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
They got something to build on as soon as they get Anthony Lynn.
Build it. Yeah, Anthony Lynn.
Katie says she loves your toque, by the way, John.
Thank you, Katie. I'm glad you do. It's I'm not American, but red, white, and blue, my favorite
Lynn
color
must go.
You know?
Hashtag Lynn must go.
Lynn must go. Dude, it's they got weapons, they got real good weapons.
Yep.
In LA. They got a quarterback who's going to be a stud.
Anthony Lynn is a clown, dude.
Well, Lynn was the running back coach for the Bills.
He's just
That's
a little
when the
bit
Bills had Shady and
Hey, he's a little bit better than Hugh Jackson.
He's a really good running back coach. How about that? Yeah.
Army asks us, what team is our biggest disappointment of 2020?
I don't have any. I have none because the Bills are AFC East champs.
He doesn't care about anybody else but the Bills.
Nothing negative to say.
Mine is the Dallas Cowboys, believe it or not.
Really?
All that talent, all that potential.
All the injuries, dude. You can't count them. They had too many fucking injuries. Just like San Francisco. I don't count their season. They had too many fucking injuries to even. They're lucky they won 5 games.
What about Atlanta then?
Or 6 games.
Atlanta's a disappointment, but again,
Atlanta's been a disappointment.
Atlanta's a perennial disappointment.
Look, Atlanta's been a disappointment before and after they blew a 28 3-point lead.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say the New England Patriots.
No,
because they should have.
Even I thought they would fall way off.
All of the hype that Cam Newton was going to come in and they weren't going to miss a beat.
And you know what? I don't believe the hype, because as soon as I saw they had Cam Newton, I knew they were bound not to make the playoffs. Cam Newton, okay, karma as it is, has not been a legitimate quarterback since his post-game conference after Super Bowl 50, when he whined like a little bitch. Okay, the MVP of the season, he got bested by Peyton Manning, which shouldn't actually fuck your ego up that much.
Right.
Okay. And he acted like a little bitch in that press conference. Ever since then, karma struck his ass square.
I'm just here to
injury after injury, and now he can. And you see, you know what? You talk about Phillip Rivers having a fucking bad throw. Have you seen Cam throw a fucking football?
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So Army says Texans were disappointed to him.
Texans were bad. Texans.
I think the biggest disappointment is the NFC East.
Well, that you can encompass that as a whole. Yes, basically.
Because I mean, come on, seriously, the NFC East is a joke.
Yeah.
Ken will vouch for that 100%.
Katie,
I have to say maybe the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
No defense. I knew they weren't going to.
No defense.
I mean, Kirk has played well.
Yeah, and Kirk only plays well in garbage time. So
correct. Yes, I agree. Dalvin Cook's been a stud all season long, and that kid Jefferson that they drafted is a total stud.
They got some offense. Hey, they got some offense. I ain't even gonna argue.
Jefferson is the real deal. He's had a great season. He's definitely should be considered as the rookie of the year, in my opinion.
Dude, you know what's so funny? Like, obviously he's going to be stuck to Stephon Diggs forever. Like, and it's like I'm very biased that I think Buffalo obviously but it was really a trade that both teams won. But you go on Twitter and you hear these negative Nancy Viking fans like, oh, we got the best trade because we got to save money on the cap. And look at the stud we drafted. Why can't you just say both teams won?
Yeah, and you know what? The impact was felt immediately on both teams.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is a trade that both teams actually won.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey,
Upper hand.
but the Diggs trade, no
Benefited
matter
both
how
teams.
even or how much it helped both teams, it didn't help their defense any.
No,
Exactly.
the defense was horrible all season long. Derek makes a good point. Cam Newton has Chad Pennington's shoulder at this point in his career.
Cam Newton never had a throw to begin with, dude. He just had more strength in his arm a few years ago. All right. And he beat up on a pretty porous, NFC that year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, as far as surprise, Vikings didn't surprise me at all because they just can't stop anybody. Case in point, this past weekend or this weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
How many teams score 33 points and get blown out by 19?
When you give up 50 points to any offense, I don't care who it is, you should be embarrassed.
Anytime an NFL team scores 33 points, you would think they're going to win most of those.
Yeah.
You would think.
And it wasn't like you said, it wasn't 34 to 33. It was a 19.
But you don't even imagine a fucking blowout when you score 33 points and you get out of the building anyway. You know what I'm saying? So no, Minnesota wasn't a real shock. The shocker to me was the midseason Chicago Bears at first. What they did those 5 games, but they kind of came back down to earth. Imagine they're still in the freaking playoff hunt.
Katie Marshall says, John, give the Vikings fans a little space to grieve. The Vikings fans have had very little going for them. That's the same fan base that watched the Twins send David Ortiz to the Red Sox.
Okay, here's the biggest disappointment, and it continues to be a disappointment, is the Houston Texans. To me, they are the biggest disappointment.
Well, that starts in the offseason when they traded away DeAndre Hopkins, too.
Of course. Yep. That is a formula for bad management.
But even before that, the Tunsil trade. Before the insanity that was DeAndre Hopkins. Like, what did they give up to get? Who's the wide receiver they got from Miami? Who's that guy? I can't even remember his name.
I don't remember.
Kenny Stills, wasn't it?
Stills, yeah.
Was it
and
Kenny
then they
Stills?
wound up cutting his ass.
Yeah. Kenny Stills.
Whatever, man. Good.
And he was one of the
OU
receivers, too.
Yeah, well, him and Jarvis down there in Miami, right?
But you see, O'Brien's gone now.
Yeah, I know how much you love Jarvis Landry.
Oh, Jarvis Landry's.
I just cannot see them having a winning organization with Marvin Lewis at the helm. I just can't.
Did DeAndre Hopkins get hurt late in that game yesterday?
He did, but he came back in. He came back into play.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't out very long. I mean, I think he landed awkwardly on his stomach. I think the defender's arm was under his stomach, and that's about what happened. All right, let's real quick because we're getting to crunch time here. Did you guys see the scary elbow to Kawhi's face yesterday?
No one cares. Next.
Hey.
Didn't they lose by like 50-something points?
Yeah,
They lost.
Yeah, they lost bad.
51 points. Yeah.
I do want to post a link.
The Mavericks set an NBA record today.
Big shout out.
They
to
led by
Dallas.
50 points at halftime.
Yeah, it was great. 50-point lead.
50-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, I hope you guys
77-27.
Yeah, I hope you guys.
Hey, were they playing the Washington Generals or what?
Yeah, no, the LA Clippers. Like, I mean,
I don't care if they weren't playing Kawhi Leonard. They still beat the crap out of
Pandemic P showed up, so you know.
Hey, what's up with the Harden? What's up with the Harden situation? You guys
Dude, Harden looked. I'm in better shape than James Harden, man. Jeez.
Harden had 44 left night.
You think Harden is a bad teammate? Because it seems like everybody scatters away from him.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want no part of his ass. Like the dude under the beard is weird.
Well, Derek, the reason why they haven't drafted much since Watson is because they actually have no draft picks, period, to go the next couple of years.
Gave them all to Miami.
They gave them all to Miami. That's why their draft picks have been horrendous. I'm going to post a link in the Facebook chat for those that are watching. This was the post game today for J.J. Watt. Speaking of the Texans,
yes, big shout out to JJ.
I know the four of us have watched this, If you have not seen it, I highly recommend you watch it. This is the epitome of what it takes to succeed in the NFL, and this is what you have to do. He plays it out. He's no filter. He doesn't pull any punches, and he basically lays it down. If you're not willing to work and put in the time to do what it takes, you shouldn't be here. I love JJ Watt.
Watson need to get out of Houston.
Correct. I love JJ Watt. Both he and Deshaun need to get out of there. Yes. So, JJ Watt, I love JJ Watt. I love his work ethic. I love the way he plays. He's been
not a free agent anytime soon, is he?
I don't know. He's been injured in a lot in the past.
Yeah.
But I guess this year was his first actually healthy season he's played in a couple of years. But he lays it out. It's basically what it is. So
that was some guys on Twitter were responding to it like, "Way to go throwing your teammates under the bus, JJ." It's like,
of course, because the teammates deserve to be thrown under the bus. Give me a break.
He didn't name anybody specifically.
No, he didn't.
No, he said it collectively.
Thanks, Derek. It was good to see you, brother. I appreciate it.
Later, Derek.
Derek, peace, man. Oh, by the way, I went against your pick today, and I won.
Real quick, we mourn the loss of 3 sports legends today that happened this week. The first of which is Kevin Green. Kevin Green was
a shocker.
He's such a dominant. I mean, he was considered a linebacker, but he did a lot of edge rushing. He was 58 years old, I think is what it was. Young. I haven't seen any news on what the cause was.
How old is
They're keeping that secret.
So they're keeping the cause. They're keeping the cause under wraps.
Kevin Green was as intense a player as I've ever seen.
Right, and I mean he spent
a gentle giant off the field. And a gentle giant off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Off the field, he was, and he was, from what I've been told and what I've seen, he was one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. A great individual. He helped out anybody and everybody that wanted him. He was a great coach when he was coaching for the Packers. You remember? But his time with the Rams and the Steelers, he was one of the most dominant outside linebackers you ever want to see in the game. He really was, and it's a huge loss. He finally got his just rewards when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame a few years ago. And as much as I hated him as a Steeler, I respected him as a player because he was a great player. Casey Jones of the Celtics passed away, 81 years old. Kenny will remember him, I'm sure.
Hey, I was watching Celtics Lakers back in the day when Casey Jones was on. Okay.
He retired in '63. That's how old school he was. But
I watched him when he's a coach.
Yeah, and he was a good coach too. He coached the Celtics for a while, if I remember correctly.
He won more championship rings than any other player, any other individual in NBA history. Yeah, right. 12. That's 2 more. He had 12
rings. He had 12 rings. I think all with the Celtics. It was a player and a coach, right, Kenny?
He had 1 with the Lakers. Yeah, he was
the Lakers.
Coach of the Lakers. Yeah, but the other 11 were with the Celtics. Yeah.
All right, and finally, this guy that I grew up watching. He was an Indian. He was a Brave. I think he was a Brave.
Mr. Knuckleman.
The guy that was the best knuckleball thrower of all time, Phil Niekro. I mean, the dude, you could never hit his knuckleball. It was so good. And he played into his 40s, deep into his 40s, because that knuckleball was so good. He and his brother were I think they both were on the Indians at one time, but together.
I think so. Yeah, one
and Joe Niekro was his brother. 2 of the most dominant pitchers in Major League Baseball of all, in all time. So we lost him as well. And one brief note, if anybody has seen it, just to say Wonder Woman 84 is a horrible freaking movie. It's terrible. It sucks. It's bad.
That's why Disney Plus put it out for free.
It's got a bad plot. It's got bad acting. It's just, I
Hey,
mean,
wait a minute.
it's gross.
It should have clued you off when Disney put it on air for free while it was in the theaters at the same time.
Well, it wasn't Disney. It's actually HBO Max. Is what's Warner Brothers.
Them too.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think HBO is not gonna? You think they're gonna put a really blockbuster
Oh
movie?
my God, it's bad.
They got everybody. Not only did they get everybody because it was Marvel.
I mean,
whatever,
guys, it's
it was
Justice
on
League.
Christmas.
It's Justice League bad. That's how bad this movie is. I mean, it's just, it's terrible.
Let me make a note of that. Wonder Woman 84. Nope.
Yeah,
No.
don't waste your time. It's not
I hated
great.
the first one. I thought everyone was in love with the first one. I thought it was overrated garbage, but whatever.
I never watched either one of them.
There's
To
a few
me,
things that are
Wonder Woman is Linda Carter, and that's it.
good point.
That's
Yeah,
where
you get a glimpse of Linda Carter if you watch through the credits, but that's
where it should end, with Linda Carter. Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have a cameo in it?
Yeah, she did it too. In the credit during the credits. Yes, she does. She has a cameo. And finally, I would like each one of you to give me your most vivid sports-related memory of 2020. Since this is the last show of 2020, I would like to do that. John's, I know, is the Bills. I know it's the Bills.
God's team.
But is there any single individual moment that you remember vividly more than anything else?
Dude, the entire season. The entire season has just been great. It's been fantastic. I love it. I mean,
Look, you know what?
Everything.
One thing I was going to mention. I'm sorry. One thing I was going to mention really quick is that a question like that, you probably should have given us a few days in advance.
I agree.
Because it's hard to think in an hour before a show, what's the one most vivid sports moment you remember? So in the future, just send it to us earlier, man.
I won't do that. I apologize.
That's for the guys who don't have a winning team that they're cheering for. Right
Because
now.
mine, of course, is the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. That's me.
No,
That's me.
like, do people even watch hockey anymore? Like,
Hey, but you see, you already had yours picked before you even asked the question.
Okay, Ken, you got anything?
If I had to pick one, I would say it would be the 2020 World Series being played out here in Arlington. The Dodgers winning it. There was a minimal crowd, 5,000 maybe.
The horse barn.
Yeah, horse barn. But the crowd made enough noise to make it sound like a decent crowd. And see the Dodgers finally win a championship after the
First one since 1988, so 32 years. Yeah.
5 years or something like that.
I think that would be my standout moment. See the Dodgers finally win it while Vin's still living, and seeing it, the whole thing that was played out here. I think that would be it.
Elliot, you got anything or no?
I'm going to give you my post 2020. So next week, I'll think of something between now and next week.
Okay.
Army says that we get to have our own division in the NHL now. So we're
Yeah, the Canadians get their own division in the NHL.
so thrilled about that. Because again, when I think of rivalry, I think of Winnipeg against Montreal.
Yes. Who wants to watch that? Nobody.
Well, Montreal, but
Yeah.
but it's not a rivalry. It's not,
Right.
Whatever.
All right, I got it. My most vivid moment that I would have to say stands out above any and all was both sweet and sour. The death of Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
was the sour. The memorial they did for him on national television was the sweet.
Yeah. That was a great.
That was because it happened so early in the year. It was like I'm me, like when we do these celebrity deaths and stuff like that, it's just kind of like, okay,
Move
it's
on,
sad.
right? Yeah.
But dude, Kobe hit different, man.
Yeah. Kobe hit
was
real different. Yeah.
That's why, like I said,
crying and like I don't know the guy. Why am I a grown man crying? But I'm just sitting up thinking about he died with his daughter.
look, I never had an inch of love for Kobe Bryant as a basketball player.
Yeah.
But yet I have a memorial T-shirt in a frame hanging on my wall.
The guy was so influential off the court after he retired with what he was doing with women's basketball. It was girls basketball.
Yeah, and once I gave it some thought, that's the first thing that popped into my head was
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Kobe dying was the bad part, but that memorial was something else. Especially like when he said, "There's no I in team," and Shaq goes, he said, "But there's an M-E in that motherfucker."
That sucked, man.
But yeah, I mean, Kobe was really impactful. I was sitting here. I want to remember. I want to say it was either on a day off or on a weekend because
It was
You know
a
what?
weekend.
You know
It was
what? We
Saturday.
because I watch it happen.
Yeah,
The great thing
21.
about Twitter is I watched it unfold on Twitter. I remember
I
the
think we
first
came
one
up
I
with a-
got, and the reactions to the people that I follow, their reaction was like, "Are you kidding me? This is a joke, right? They're
Yeah,
just
because
trolling us."
TMZ reported it first.
Yes, because
And
it was
everybody-
TMZ.
I think you came out with the best adjective, Scott. When you said it was impactful. It probably wasn't the most vivid sports moment, but it was definitely the most impactful sports moment
Correct.
of the year.
Yeah.
Because everybody from this corner of the earth to the other corner of the earth
Loved Kobe.
knows who Kobe Bryant was.
Yes.
Yeah. They all knew who he was. Yeah.
He was celebrated globally,
Around the world.
and his death impacted a globe, basically.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
crazy, man. I just don't even want
I
to
look,
think about
I look back at all the people we've lost in both the sports and entertainment industry this year. I've never in my wildest imagination ever seen anything like it.
This year, we've lost a lot of great.
The older you get, the worse it
Wow.
gets.
And you
Yeah,
know
man,
what?
I know.
Thing, man. The
That's a
longer
great
you're
point,
on this
Elliot,
planet.
because the majority of the ones that we've lost this year are the ones that I watched growing up, and that
Yeah.
hit hard.
And the older we get, the more of them are gonna die. That's something that you have to basically now make a pattern in your life. That's gonna happen. People are gonna die, you know. But then I look and I say, you know, Sean Connery died. How old was he? 92.
Right. Good life, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
You know what I'm saying? You're
yeah,
eight.
like
You're,
dudes that are in their 80s and 90s. It's
if
kind
you're
of
in
like
your 80s, you did really good.
you did good, man. Good run, you know?
You know what I'm saying? Me, I just hope I make it till I'm old enough to see my son be a success of himself, and then I'm good.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But
We're all
that's just
morbid.
the way I feel about it.
So,
So,
on that note, we will end the show. Pretty morbid, but that's okay. Guys, it was a great show tonight. I appreciate that, you know, that you guys get to pile on me on a weekly basis. It's great.
I didn't pile on you.
one thing.
No, hey, you know what? If you consider pointing out facts piling on you, then you
Exactly, man. You gotta grow the skin a little bit.
The
man.
skin is thick. I can take it all, so I'm good.
Good.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
What you got, John? What you got, John?
If you
that's
want to,
debatable.
bro, like you said, Wonder Woman was awful. If you want a really good movie to watch to recoup yourself from the Wonder Woman experience, Tenet, watch
Really?
it.
Yeah, Crystal bought it for me for Christmas. So,
Freaking brilliant, mind blowing. Like when you actually understand the science behind it, it's just like, oh, okay, I need to watch it again. It's really, really good.
I started watching it, but I was on medication, so I was kind of falling asleep on it. But I got it queued up, man. It's mine. I own it, so I'm gonna watch it when I'm getting ready.
Yeah. Definitely recommend that. And then the Expanse series, because this season is just
Yeah, you were talking about the Expanse series like 2 weeks ago or last week. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to watch Soul on Disney Plus.
I heard that was really good, Elliot. I'm gonna have
The
to watch it.
cartoon. The cartoon Soul. Yeah.
All right.
I'm watching
Ladies and
this
gentlemen,
Winter
thank you
Wonderland in Lambeau.
What's that? Yeah, it's snowing bad in Lambeau. It's
Let's go Packers.
It's glorious.
Don't throw
all right, that's our show for this week. Thank you everybody who showed up and
Our
hung
show
out
for
with
this
us tonight.
year.
It was the last show of 2020. We'll be back next Sunday. I will have, hopefully, cross my fingers, I will have a big announcement next week as well. If I can work out the kinks and John doesn't yell at me all the time for what I'm doing wrong with it. Anyway, regardless, thank you for showing up. On behalf of my executive producer, Elliot Big E Lamba,
That's me.
my really good friend, John G. Olson of almost 10 years, and my best friend for 20 years, Ken Coslow. We thank you all for joining us, and we are the Sports Nerds, and we'll be back again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, same time, same bat channel. Thank you very much.
Next year.
and we are out.